instigating creative collisions. We typically do most of that in person, but we're proscribed from doing that, so we're going digital this time. We're also very concerned about social equity and bringing all the diversity in our community together. We've recognized the importance of that asset. And it's in the spirit of that we felt an urgency to convene RocGrowth Coffee. We're not doing it at the co-work, we're doing it here thanks to Zoom. And there is this sense of urgency, and we all agreed to come up with, nickname this, or perhaps, well, we'll see where the term goes, give and take, because these challenges create opportunities for innovation and greater humanity. Disruption leads to change. This is an example. We're doing coffee this way. Some of the greatest companies were conceived in times of great turmoil. So plenty of people are struggling. Plenty of us have the ability to help, whether it's through resources or new ideas. And we want to create a forum so we can match up those two different types. And sometimes people are in need and also have resources and ideas. So let's see how it goes. And I'm going to hand it off to our community builder extraordinaire, Chris Cooley. And let's proceed. Thank you.
Thanks, man. What I'm going to do is go down through, well, first of all, I just appreciate everybody making time. It's pretty incredible that we pulled this together in a week, and I reflect Richard's statement of thanking the team. It's been a really fast, creative process to put this thing together, and it's come together in a pretty amazing way. I want to start with sort of this statement from an old adage, which is, if you want to take something, you first must allow it to be given. And I think that's really profound, especially in this moment and in this space that we have virtually. We tend to collect in a physical space at the co-work for RocGrowth Coffee, and we happen to be doing this virtually. And I just believe that there are so many different avenues that will come from this virtual interaction, and maybe even more so in a more unique way than it ever had in a physical space. And I think of this term social distancing, and that I kind of have a little bit of a beef with that, because it's actually physical distancing. Right now we're being extremely social. And so that term is something that I think has been in the back of my mind for a while, since it kind of came out. Like, should we really be distancing ourselves socially? I don't happen to necessarily agree with that, but to this idea came about when Richard started talking to me a little bit about the social implications and the impact that this challenging time is having on people who are most vulnerable. And so we created this vulnerable space for all of you. And when I say vulnerable, I mean, this is like, you're here in my home and I can see all of your homes. So it's a very different sort of vibe than going to someone else's space and being creating collisions in a co-work. And so I appreciate everyone being welcoming and allowing us to be in your space, albeit virtually, right? So there is a format to this thing, and I'm going to run down through that. We emailed out some guidelines. So I'm going to go down through that list pretty quickly. This is because we're going to open this conversation and dialogue to all of you. And this is it's not a sales pitch. I'm going to tell you the things that it's not. It's not an ask for money or donations. It is a request for solutions to your challenges. And so what we're going to be asking is that if you have something that's been challenging you or your business in this time, to please pose it to the group, and we'll allocate. I mean, this is the first time we're doing this, so we're planning on allocating at least 5 minutes so that everybody has a opportunity to have their challenge identified, and from there we can see kind of how things roll. If you do have an ask for donations, there's a chat within Zoom, And please feel free to put your ask or your donation ask in the chat box. That way at the end, we can actually print that list out and we can share it with the community. So that's one way to do it. We'll also kind of do a popcorn at the end, like we do at RocGrowth Coffee. So if you've been to that, it's 30 seconds. Hey, I have this thing I need to sort of let everyone know about. So we'll still do that. We do have 3 speakers. We're going to give them a couple minutes that have community sort of platforms that they want to share and different community voice opportunities, I guess, for lack of a better term. So we're going to start there, give them a couple minutes, and then we'll kind of get into the meat of the main event. There's some housekeeping stuff. Just keep yourself on mute. If you do have something to say, there's a virtual raise your hand, and we'll see how this all works, because there's a huge amount of tiles on this screen, which is awesome. But we'll definitely get to everyone as much as we can. And yeah, the goal is really, it was outlined in the email, but it's to come together in mutual support. And if we do more of these, great. And we, like Richard said, we really like your feedback. This is, we are recording this, and if you have an issue, I guess you can leave. I hate to put it that way, but it's just the same as we record any other sort of RocGrowth event for internal purposes. And if you say something really profound and we would like to use it for something, we will ask you if we can share it. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Nasser. Are you here somewhere? I think you can unmute yourself, and that way maybe I can find you.
I'm here.
All right. I'm going to see if you talk. Maybe your screen will come up. I don't know if you have video going or not, but
I do.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Can you see me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Not sure how to set it so that I become the center of your screen, but
Where are you? Oh, there you are. I can pick you a spotlight. Here we go. Perfect. There we go. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Hi everyone, and thanks, Richard and the RocGrowth team for having me on. This is a great opportunity for all of us to come together and talk about something that I think we'll be talking about for some weeks to come, because it's at a very interesting intersection of business and technology and health and essentially community, because this is one of those situations where you really can't separate things out. And we at Upstate Venture Connect have been trying to, like everyone else, get our arms around what this means, and then how can we deploy our network and resources to help out. One of the things that we're very proud of is that we have built up a network of a large number of people who are leading businesses of all sizes, from very small, highly innovative ones to large manufacturing types of operations and call centers and so on. And all of those folks have a couple of things in common. Number one, they have an enormous investment in the community that their businesses are based in. And two is that they, because of their situation, they have resources and access to the attention of people who can make a difference, or who may be in a position where you know, they may be several layers away from where the actual information they should be acting on is, and can help sort of shortcut some of that. So as a result of that, a week ago we started to get these people to sign up to a pledge way before the lockdown, way before all of this, to say, look, something needs to be done to flatten the curve. You can see that at ubc.org/COVID-19. I can't type and talk at the same time, so maybe Richard can put it up there. And also there's a group for business leaders. So what I'm offering to our group here is that if you know of some need or some opportunity or some resource that can be more broadly made visible to communities outside Rochester, not just in Rochester, but something that's a solution like you're going to hear from Sean in a minute or so, a solution that starts off in Rochester, but then can be quickly, deployed and accessed across all of upstate or any community for that matter. We can be sort of your distribution channel for that information. And similarly, if you have people that are, in need, organizations that need help, let us know. And we are very eager to help in any way that we can to get the message out, to connect people across our region, and to get the attention of those who may be in a position to just say yes to something that they should be, but may not be aware of.
Thank you. That's awesome. I mean, that's what this whole thing's about, right? And I know you mentioned Nasser, Sean, and is Sean here?
He was.
Sean and Mike. Sean and Mike, do you guys?
Sean's here.
Sean, can you speak up or raise your hand so I can see you? There he is. Sean, do you want to have the mic for a second here?
Sure. I'll try to be brief here. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, got you loud and clear.
Wonderful. Great. Well, good morning, everyone. And it's really exciting to see everybody here early on a Friday morning. As we do this, again, I hope to see this, invite a friend or two so we can make this go viral as much as possible. But anyhow, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Asson. I'm president of Continual Care Solutions. And we are an enterprise platform that serves agencies that provide services to vulnerable and at-risk populations. So generally speaking, these are not-for-profit, community-based organizations. So in that spirit of give and take, we had a platform, we had a technology that we could deploy fairly quickly. And what we created was what's called Empower Community. And effectively what it is a community exchange. Many of these organizations that are doing wonderful work in the social and human services have needs, but they also have opportunities to give offers as well. But we were focusing on needs specifically, and what we created was a repository for what those needs are. But on the other side of the equation are the resources that are out there. So there are many in the business community, the arts and culture, that have resources that they could give back. And we really want to make that exchange try to happen, not only in Rochester, but the scalable opportunity that we have deployed across upstate New York. And to Nasser's point about leveraging the networks, I'm asking you to think about your networks and the organizations or the businesses that might be able to contribute to this platform so that we can make sure that we marry wants and needs along with supply. So it's a really neat platform we've created. It's free to the community. We want everyone to leverage it and certainly take advantage of it. We're calling it Empower Community. It's interesting in this time of crisis that it comes together and innovation comes from this. But really, we could use this at any point in time to make sure that we marry the two sort of the supplies and demands together in the community and provide some awareness and connect people with it. And an example of that might be if a housing organization needs mattresses, for example, and there's probably not a lot of sales in mattresses taking place right now. We could bring them together. And I think that's a real nice example. And there are plenty of them out there. The other piece of this is this social connectivity. We've seen where yoga classes are being performed. In my community alone, there was a young woman that was doing a watercolor class virtually for some of the kids in the community. So it can go on for a lot of different aspects of life, but it's connectivity, it's connecting businesses, it's connecting those social organizations that really have great needs and individuals that may be on the fringes that we could really support. And it starts with you and it starts with your network. So my ask is, A, to look us up and we'll provide a link for you so you can find that, but to make sure you share it with other people to make sure that they add a profile on what their needs are and that they're updating it. And that's really all I have to share at this point. So thank you all for participating and look forward to your participation.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
It's not all you have to share. It's a big deal, man. So thank you for that. And
Thanks.
if I don't know, Adriana, if you could provide a link in there in the chat group for Sean's.
I can do that as well.
Sean can do it. Yeah, that
Sure.
would be awesome.
Thanks,
And-
everyone.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being present and introducing us to all this. I believe Rachel Barnard is here somewhere.
Hello.
I see you. Hi, Rachel. Are you ready to
Yes, I am.
have the spotlight for a second here?
Sure. I will be very brief. Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is my first RocGrowth coffee, and I'm really sorry it's under these circumstances. I just wanted to, I'm a county legislator, and I just wanted to give you a few updates. The county has been giving us updates on COVID-19 twice a day at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Yesterday's 4 p.m. update indicated that we have 148 confirmed cases. 32 people are hospitalized, 19 are in the ICU. We need to watch that hospitalization number, particularly the ICU number. It's obvious we do not only have 148 cases in our community. Testing has been severely restricted to healthcare workers and people who are severely ill, hospitalized, where we need to know their status because it impacts how they are cared for. And that ICU number is very important because we have limited capacity and we're on a collision course right now with that capacity. And a lot of efforts are being made to ensure that we have enough ventilators to make sure, I'm sure you hear Cuomo's press conferences every day, but to make sure that our area can handle this as well. We are expecting a surge. We aren't there yet. We'd like to slow it down, gives us more time to plan. And we'd like to slow it down so that it's below the capacity of our hospitals. That's the whole point of why we are doing this physical distancing. So stay home. I know we're all home. We're doing the right thing, but that's why we have to do this. On the business front, yesterday the county announced zero interest small business loans of up to $10,000. I'll put the link in the chat at monroecounty.gov. That homepage, right at the top of that homepage, you see the information about how to apply. They're going to do a real quick turnaround on these applications. So I strongly urge you to check that out if you're in a position where you need this. If you are unfortunately unemployed, need to apply for unemployment benefits, a lot of people are struggling right now with that. I had a neighbor stop me yesterday. I was walking the dog and she said, I've called 500 times. I can't get through. People are getting through if you just stick with it. I also urge you to call your local state assemblyman or senator. In fact, one told me yesterday they have the hookup. They might be able to help you. So call their office if you're having trouble getting through. And if you are in this position, I am so, so sorry. So many of our neighbors are really struggling right now. If you need emergency assistance, also on monroecounty.gov, right on that homepage, there are a ton of resources for human services. If you need to apply for emergency housing, food stamps, healthcare, all of those resources are in one place. Finally, Councilwoman Mary Lupian and School Board Member Beatrice LeBron and I, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30, we are having a Zoom meeting like this. It's open. You don't have to pre-register. Anyone can jump into the meeting, giving updates very similar to this about resources, but we're also taking questions and we're supporting each other. And I think that's really important at a time like this. So I hope everyone stays well, stays healthy. And if you need anything, I'm very, very easy to find. And if I don't have the answers, I will try to get them for you. Thank you so much.
Rachel, thank you. I also appreciate that you said physical distancing. I want to make a quick note for anybody who has just hopped on or who's hopped on after I kind of gave the rundown of the format here. There's a chat window. So if you have resources or if you have a particular organization that you want to promote or have donations and have a need for, please put them in the chat box so we'll print that whole thing out. We'll save it, and we can post it in wherever. We can post it wherever it's necessary. The format that we have in mind, which is sort of the main event here, and I thank the speakers for their contributions to the community and statewide and regionally and all that good stuff, and for making it known here to this group, because we can certainly go out to our networks and spread the word. One of the things that we want to experiment with a little bit here is having this give and take interaction, because there's right now 51 people on this call, and these 51 people have incredibly intelligent and genius brains. And so I would love to have any participant here. We're going to see how this goes. You virtually raise your hand and pose a challenge that you're currently facing because of this scenario, this current situation. And what I'd like to do is make some space, if we can all just make that space available for solutions. And I put together a couple of examples that kind of came up in and around my life in the last week or so that we dreamed up as part of this scenario, which, you know, an example of a challenge might be that you're a consultant and your biggest client put your contract on hold. And you usually gain more business through events like RocGrowth Coffee. How do I virtually build a client base? You know, that type of a question. Or something that came up was school programs for kids. They had to leave the school so quickly that they had to leave their instruments behind, and they're locked in the school. So how do the kids play instruments? You know, does anybody have any sort of ideas or solutions for how to engage kids musically outside of a school music program? So those are the kind of things that we want to bring up and pose to this audience. And this is, you know, look, you're all in my house right now. We're all in each other's homes. And so this is truly a space. It may make some people uncomfortable. That's okay. This is not a right or wrong situation to be vulnerable and to contribute. But I ask that this is a respectful place to have that contribution happen. So we're experimenting here. We're going to see how this goes. Tina Paradiso has raised her hand. So I'm going to, Tina, give you the floor here, if I can find you. And where are you? You're somewhere. Can you?
I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you. While I'm finding you, there you are. I'm going to give you the spotlight here.
Does this help?
Yeah, you got the hoodie rocking. Yeah, that helps. I found you now. So I give you the spotlight. What's happening, Tina?
Good morning, and thank you for the invitation. It's really cool to be here. So I don't know how many people know what my company does. So we do printing, promotional products, and decorated apparel. And I work with disconnected opportunity young people. And one of the challenges is because the majority of my young people are grant funded, they get paid through a temp agency. So they don't qualify for unemployment during this time. If there's limited hours, we've been doing the shared work program. I have folks that are working remotely. So one of the things that I did, I was trying to get creative. And we have these little pieces of equipment that we take to events and print t-shirts on site at events. So I deployed all of my, I deployed about $35,000 worth of equipment to my young people's spaces so that they have the opportunity to be able to produce and work from home, practicing the physical distancing. And one of the challenges we're having is that nobody's ordering anything. So one of the things that I did was I put up a quick website, and you can actually go out and create your own hashtag t-shirt or create a completely custom shirt. Because my goal is to keep them busy, because if they're not engaged and they're not working hours, because they don't qualify for unemployment, because they're through a temp agency and this grant, they have no ability to earn. They're already on the cusp They're moving from, homeless to, housing programs. And it's a really, really, really difficult time for me to see this happening. So I'm trying to get creative. The other thing that I've offered to them is if they have the opportunity to do volunteer work and they document it, and they send me a picture from FoodLink or whatever agency they've chosen to work with, we're going to call that career exploration, so that they have an opportunity to, uplift the community and an opportunity to continue to earn. So I'm looking for creative ways, to be able to get them hours, because they need to earn.
Tina, thanks for sharing. I happen to know quite a bit about your program, and it's pretty incredible. It may be that I'm curious if people have thoughts and solutions or ideas or even questions for Tina. Sometimes clarifying questions are the best way to pull out solutions. If you have anything like that, please raise your hand. The other thing, Tina, is, if you're okay with it, put your email in the chat.
Yeah.
And that way, if people think of something later on, they can always email you or contact you,
Okay.
right?
Can I, let me just jump in for a moment. I ordered a dozen t-shirts as a
You
gift.
did. Thank you.
And I did curbside pickup right downtown on College Avenue near the Village Gate, and it worked perfectly. I think I'm still healthy. And I made my son very happy. Thank you.
All right. So you're going to have to help me out here. Where do I put how do I chat with people or wait, hang on. Oh, here we go.
You figured it
Okay.
out. I knew you would.
I did.
Tina,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, so Ellie just put in the chat, what is something your employees can make that nobody else can produce? Tell us more about the t-shirts. So
the t-shirts themselves, what I had in inventory is what I deployed, right? So literally you can take a picture, we could take a screenshot of our Zoom call, right? You can email it over and we can literally print that CMYK full color, full picture on a t-shirt. And we can customize it with a hashtag, with your name, with a message, with a support. So that's not, because we have direct to garment printing, it's not screen printing. We can do a lot with that.
So I can have my my shirt that says physical distancing, not social distancing, right?
Correct.
Kim says maybe we can create a RocGrowth t-shirt and come back to this group with suggestions for t-shirts. I think that's a really neat idea, Kim.
Thank you.
A contribution from everybody here with creative ideas, and maybe it could be a mashup, of different messages. So I think there's a couple different ways to do this. Is there a link to the t-shirt website, Tina?
Yep, I'm typing it up right now.
Okay, cool.
My fat little fingers are discouraging me.
It's so funny. I love seeing everyone's Zoom cameras, right? It's like everybody's different angles and everything. And it's like this Brady Bunch group. It's so fun. And I just think it's incredible to see all of you come together like this. Tina, I have a question about the sending out the machines. Where did you send them to exactly? So they're accessible to the youth?
So we took them to wherever our young people stay. So some of them stay at home, some of them have a housing program that they belong to. We came in Sunday and started at 8 o'clock in the morning, pulling together inventory, pulling together equipment, pulling together extra inks that they might need. And I called in a couple of my friends and we took 7 machines across the city of Rochester.
Wow.
To wherever it is they're staying. So if they live in an apartment, the machine's in the apartment. If they whatever that looks like for them, whatever their space looks like for them.
Tina, that I just have to say how like inspiring that is, that you've taken your own sort of taking your own manufacturing and look at the confidence that you have. I mean, I know that you've built an incredible trust and rapport with these people. It just
Correct.
goes to show that, you know, you can do great things and empower anyone, right? To be respectful of the things that they have, right? And still be productive, versus having to just completely sever everything, you know?
I didn't want to do that. I had to get creative. I had to figure it out. And I trust my kids implicitly, right? They trust me with their lives and with their stories, with their next steps, how they're moving through the world. So I trust them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Kim also said, do you still have reusable bags in stock?
Yes, and I have some reusable bags on the site too.
So we'll, I think that there's a lot of sort of creativity. Is this helpful for you, Tina? Are you looking
Oh
for
my
more?
gosh, this is amazing. And if anybody, I'm gonna scroll through the comments. Let's see. This is amazing.
Yeah, I think this is a great
Joel,
question.
thank you. Yeah.
This is a great question, from Michelle. Is the need to have them print teas or to stay productive? And
Stay
I think that's
productive. Yeah.
a great clarifying question.
Yeah.
So is it both? Is there one like what's the ultimate goal, right?
The ultimate, so part of it is, I have one young man, he's even though RTS is free right now, um, he's afraid to ride, public transportation. So for him to stay productive, printing t-shirts helps him, right? Helps him focus, helps him get some hours. So some of my young people are in the digital divide, right? And they don't necessarily have access. So being able to sign up for volunteer opportunities is a challenge. We deployed some hotspots as well. The one program I was actually really surprised, the housing program, they don't have access to internet, and the young people can't get access to internet, which is kind of makes me scratch my head. But so keeping them productive, keeping them active. When you have, so my young people, some profiles, some of them are refugees, English as a second language, pregnant or parenting. I have 3 single parents. I have kids that are affiliated. So if we're not printing t-shirts and their minds are idle, they're going to go do their side hustle to eat, right? That's their basic need. So the busier I keep them, the better this works for them.
I just had an idea, Tina, and this is actually an idea for this entire group of people. How much are the t-shirt? Can you order just an individual t-shirt?
Yep, $12. I'm only doing, it's $12. It covers my cost, covers the shipping's included. The goal isn't to profit. The goal is to have young people earning.
So can I want to pose a challenge to everybody here. There's 50 people here. I would like everybody to consider creating a design or a shirt or a phrase that is inspiring or empowering or encouraging to the young people who are printing the shirts, and just order one shirt so that as they print it, they're seeing the community standing behind them. I think that could really be something that, I don't know, Tina, maybe it's something, I don't know all the people that, that you employ, but it's just something that popped into my head, download through this conversation. And so the only thing is, I think somebody said they can't load the website. So
somebody else just Adriana copied and pasted it. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you.
Great. So
Yeah.
I would like to, I think everybody here can probably, I don't know for sure, but if you can spend $12, go to the website and let's help out this youth, these people who Tina has so graciously included in her continuation on their employment. So if you can contribute, I think that would be a really neat way to do it. Any other ideas for Tina, or a raise of hands? I mean, Tina, bless you. Thank you for everything you do. Anyone have any other thoughts? I mean, you can continue to put thoughts in the chat, obviously, and other challenges. I mean, this is a place for it. So if you have any, raise the hand and let's do this thing. If not, we can always skip right to popcorn. And if anybody has a donation or anything that they'd like to talk about, this is your time. I'm seeing some other questions in the chat, or thoughts in the chat too. So Tina, you might still have the floor here. What format do we submit the designs in?
It could be JPEG, PNG. I can take any and convert them.
Okay, so pretty much anything is what I'm hearing. How can we throw the challenge to young artists in the community?
Whoever has the network for that.
And so if someone has a network for and connectivity to that, maybe Tina, this is a challenge that can be shared through social media or something like that, right? Some sort of hashtag. I'm not savvy with all that stuff, but there are people here that are, I think. If anybody needs help getting the word out, whether that be industry articles, handouts, there's a professional freelance copywriter here. Sean Dunwoody's name comes up as always, right? And yeah, Michelle's saying, let's share this challenge with our social media channels. So I think connecting Tina and having your email, if somebody feels like they really want to participate in something like this, then let's do it, right?
Yeah. Is this chat, am I able to go back and do this? Because I thought I was sending to everyone, and Sarah let me know that.
Oh, you had a privately send it. Yeah, you can actually attach. You can have a private conversation. I will be saving this chat as a text document, so afterwards I'll go back. And I guess Tina, again, I'm just going to ask: is that helpful? Do you have any other thoughts or comments?
I just thank you all for the creativity, the ideas,
You're welcome.
Keeping my kids.
Well, thank you for everything that you've been doing in this community. It's incredible and very impressive. So thank you as well. Thank you, Ping Pong. Thank you. No, thank you. John Greco has something to offer. John, do you want to take the
Chris,
mic?
how you doing?
There he is.
Calling you guys from Buffalo. Hi. So one of the things we've started to pull together is a community newsletter that we're setting out. It's not like under the guise of anything. It's not sponsored by anything. But what we're finding is that there's a ton of stuff going around, obviously, with coronavirus, right? But there's a lot of opportunities. Like, one of the opportunities that we've always really pressed is, like, how do we get upstate New York to function a little bit more like one instead of like three individual cities between Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse? So it's been like a personal initiative of mine and some of the work that we're doing with Techstars. What does that mean? I'm going to, Chris, if you can send it out afterwards. I mean, the name of the email is called Buffalo Bridge. It's just the name we came up with. But if anybody is working, so this is specifically for founders, or if you're not a founder, if you can reference one. If anybody is working on something that we think can be helpful to the community, send it over. I mean, we have an email list of about 2,000 founders we're working with across the nation that are either from some segment of Buffalo, Rochester, or Syracuse, or also really high contingency of expats. And what we're finding is when we blow that out, like I'll give you an example. There's a company from a couple guys that are from Brooklyn. Well, they're from Buffalo. That live down in Brooklyn. That are part of a group called Who's Your Landlord. So they have a lot of free documentation of like how to deal with, this, like April 1st, everybody's rent checks they come due, right? So, how you can deal with that and what are some of the proper things to go through. So they gave us access to that and we push it out. So if anybody has anything, I mean, it's a free platform to put stuff on. I'll type my email into the group chat, and Chris can send it around afterwards. Also, I mean, if we've seen some predatorial things happening. I've gotten 3 phone calls this week from people asking me if there are any distressed businesses that they think maybe are to had at a reasonable price. Very Pretty Woman-esque type situations. And I'm turning it around and saying, if you do have places that are really distressed, not to be supportive and try and figure out how we can all get through this. I think we're all worried about businesses big and small getting lost. There's going to be casualties. We know that. But for some of the predatorial stuff out there, I mean, feel free if you have anybody, direct them my way. There are sources of capital out there right now. For startups, I mean, always happy to make direct connections into Techstars accelerators and stuff like that. It's enough money to get people by, and you're not giving up your entire, the entire farm. Also, there is a larger opportunity zone play, primarily for Batavia West, but a $50 million fund that's looking for ozone investments that can make, and they're looking to deploy capital over the next 90 days. So they picked Buffalo as one of the places they've done this. They've had a lot of success at Erie, PA. So, I've blown this out through my network. But if you have anything that is, and that you're located in an opportunity zone, if you don't know what that means, you can Google in about 5 minutes, and you have a explicit product or an investment that will help either reduce the effects of what we're going through right now or reduce the effects of future epidemics of all different types, consider, I'll directly connect you to the group. The group's out of Washington. It's a larger OZ fund. A couple people like Michelle from Perfect Granola and a couple other people from Rochester have already reached out. And I'm just working to help organize it and try to get some capital out there. So, and finally, I think that there's going to be something released. I know that there's a lot going on with these small business loans, right? My family's got a furniture store in Rochester, so I'm feeling it on the personal side too. And there's a couple groups coming together, a pretty connected law firm, accounting firm, and then actually a guy on my team that's been part of the legislative work around the stimulus package that are maybe doing a presentation the early part of next week. So as a small business, as somebody that has a lot of stake in businesses and small businesses, I'm trying to get the word out about that. I mean, we all heard about the stimulus package. I haven't heard of anybody actually applying for it yet. And I think clarity, there's about 1 million websites up on it. And I really can't tell what side's up with them. So when that stuff comes out, I'll be happy to push it out. With all this digital stuff going on, it doesn't matter if we're 5 feet away or on the other side of the globe. We can start to be a little bit more connected. So when we come out of this, maybe some of the silos that used to be there are gone. Thanks for the time.
That's awesome. I have a quick question for maybe those who don't know about opportunity zones. Can you talk a little bit, maybe briefly, about the qualifications that a business needs to have to apply for the OZs? Funding?
Yeah. I'm going to give you the layman's explanation. So I'm an opportunity zone investor. Plus, I'm on a founder of business. Basically, long story short, if you Google opportunity zones, the federal government gave, a certain amount of acreage per city or county. I don't exactly remember how it got divvied up. And there's literally a map that shows plots of land. A bunch of them could be sitting in right now. They're designated opportunity zones. There's 2 types of investments you can make into those. So ozone, just to be clear, it's like a rich man's policy. If you have capital gains, you can roll them into these ozones tax-free for the equivalent of like another 6 years, 6.5 years. So there's a lot of money that's going towards it. You know, tech entrepreneurs, people that made a lot of money and got people. You know, there's all these capital gains on there, and people are flushing them into ozones. The restrictions on ozones, you can really only invest in two things. Inside one, right? You know, I've done a little bit of that. And also you can invest in businesses inside them. And there's a set of criteria. I mean, most accounting shops should be able to run you through it. But if you are physically located, like I would go type in Google Opportunity Zone, type in the address where your building or your location is, and just see if the map is pink. And if it's pink, you're in one. And you should at least start telling people you're in an ozone when you start raising money. There are ozone-specific funds. Marnie's got one with Launch New York she's working on. There's a bunch of real estate ones bouncing around. There legislation that just came out was around business opportunity zone investments because they're a little different. You know, because the point is whatever your investment is has to stay in the ozone. No one's going to pick up a house and move it. People could pick up a business and move it. So I'm an ozone investor in a group out in Syracuse called TCG Player, right? Chetty's a really good buddy of mine. Like, he's not going anywhere. We had a mutual understanding where the business was going to stay, you know, so I was able to make an investment into that a while back. This was a little while ago. So, I mean, if anybody has any questions about ozones, I'm happy to answer them in a layman's kind of gentleman version of it. There's a ton of like really articulate, you know, highbrow type statements out there. Basically, Google Opportunity Zone maps, see if your address is in one. If it is in one, learn a little bit more about it, because whether it's this opportunity or the millions of other ones that are out there, it opens up pools of money that can only go into opportunity zones.
Right.
So I'm happy to help with that or make some connections.
Yeah, virtually, if not the entire city, most of the city of Rochester has been designated in OZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend. I've been dabbling in that a little bit in the work that we do as well. And so I'll connect with you for sure, man. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And look, if there's a lot of people interested, I'm happy to do like a WebEx or something for 15 minutes. I have my whiteboard that my son's drawn all over. This is in my ad hoc office. Like, it's not hard to do, right? I mean, don't take it. It's not legal advice. It's not accounting advice. It's
good. It's very good to know about. And Tina, I think you may want to check your area too for opportunity zones. Tom raised his hand. Tom, do you have something to say other than what you already said in the chat? Which is, there's a way to raise your hand if you want.
Yeah, what I want to say is, I think it's really important to support our local places that are open, such as Tina, and also, you know, we don't eat out all the time before. Well, we are now, just so we can do takeout from the existing places that are doing their takeouts. You know, it's keeping their staff running. It's, you know, those are the people that can really use it. Just like, as I said, Tina's keeping her people busy. If she's available. Also, remember your different printing companies. Many of them are still open because they've been designated as essential too, to get information out.
Cool. Thanks, Tom. I do have, yeah, Jack.
Just playing off that real quick, there's a website called Dining at a Distance. It was just thrown up. Rochester is one of the cities. If anybody is interested, it's basically just a website where anybody can self-select in all the restaurants that are actually doing and currently open for takeout. We use it in Buffalo all the time. It's totally free. It's totally just crowdsourced, and they're ridiculously responsive. So Dining at a Distance, it's pretty cool.
Cool. I have two requests that came through. Is Martin here? Martin has something he'd like to share about an ed tech company.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I've had the privilege of working for a company called Redorium. They've had a school offering for a couple of years. It's a reading and science program for grades 3 to 8. And we are working hard to make that available to kids at home during this time when kids aren't going to school. So we have a brand new website, and we're getting the kinks out of an e-commerce back end so we can make this available at home. A lot of kids who could really benefit from this product for reading and science.
What's the big challenge here, my friend?
Right now, if you could just take a look, and give us some feedback on the website. If you can try the transactions, obviously, if you've got some kids or you know some parents who want to get their kids online, they can just go out there and give it a whirl. Hopefully they'll learn some science and give us some feedback on how well it goes.
Cool. Would you mind putting a link in the chat for us when you get a second? And I think James, the YMCA, are you here still?
Yes, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate the opportunity. And I have to say really quickly to everybody, this is an awesome forum and platform to connect and share, and also, to your point, ask those clarifying questions to build solutions towards some of the challenges we're facing as a community. And so I thank you very much. My colleague, Megan DeFranco, and I have been talking to Richard on occasion about some of the things going on in our community. And I just wanted to share briefly with the why. It's a very similar, I think, theme as we shift to address the needs of our community in a time of challenges like COVID-19 presents. And two of the areas, or a couple of the areas I wanted to share and just talk about really briefly was the shift with childcare, emergency childcare for our YMCAs as we move away from physical distancing, or move towards physical distancing with our membership component, having our facilities not running membership because we want to be good stewards and good supporters of our community and global citizens, having our child care programs in several locations open to our essential employees, right? So we think about our healthcare workers, RPD, whomever else has to be out there to make sure that we're safe and also to help our most vulnerable be well. Right now, our child care programs are running several sites at Eastside, in Fairport, Shotland, which is in Pittsford, our Carlson location right downtown, the epicenter or the mecca of the city, and Northwest, which is in Greece. I wanted to share with everybody that because it's so critical right now. There's things that we have to provide in our community, and we have to find a way to lift up and support those who have to be in front and on the front lines to support others at this time. And so those are things that we have available right now to be a part of solutions for those who need that high quality care and also need really good hygiene. That's something we've done for a very long time, right? Practicing hand washing and proper cough and sneezing etiquette for the kids. A big shout out to the child care workers in our locations and also across the city and region. I know this is big because of the need in the community. Also, briefly, I want to talk about our fact that our partnership with Food Link, like the city of Rochester and others, having a location at our Maplewood location on Driving Park, on the northwest side of the city, to have a food location for those who may not have access. I think we talked about earlier in the call, someone mentioned vulnerable populations. This is an absolute paramount time for us as a community to make sure we lift up our vulnerable populations, those who have access or don't have access to food or technology, however that might be. And so making sure that we provide a safe space for people to come to get food and to get their nourishment. Also, I wanted to talk about the fact that our Y family as a whole, many are trying to donate to the Y through their membership, keeping their membership in place to actually help us provide some of the critical care programming that we have right now for people that are in need, which is really, really cool. It's kind of one of those things where you can say to people, how awesome is that people know they can't access a resource they pay for, but they can give that resource to others because they need. That is equity. That is awesome. And then just a big shout out to, the rest of the community that's trying to find ways to provide resources for each other. This is a tough time. And I think that someone mentioned earlier, with unemployment rising at a astronomical rate, how can we work together? And so one of the things that we talked about recently, Chris, and I'll close with this and then ask a question, is when the light comes back on, when the dawn rises from this darkness, what can we do at the Y to help families and individuals, teens, our elders find a space, all right? And so we're thinking with foresight, because we know people are going to come through this time with challenges economically speaking. And so what can we do as a YMCA, as a not-for-profit, as a charity, to find funds and resources to provide programming for summer, for families when they get back to life as what normalcy might be. And that might mean I can't do the things I could do before because I don't have the financial resources. So for us right now, it's critical for us as a team, as a community, to find those resources, to provide additional support for those families and those individuals, those teens, those seniors, to get access off the bat, without a doubt, minimizing those barriers, long application processes that take 6-8 weeks, whatever that is. That's something we're really focused on right now. And so I wanted to make sure I share with the group, as you may know people in your networks that are looking for opportunities or need high quality childcare right now, that are working at the hospitals, that are working for RPT, for the sheriff's office, EMS, you name it, that are out there and they need support for their kids, because right now the people that are caring for their kids are a part of the vulnerable populations that could suffer from this illness. And so we want to put those kids in great spaces. So thanks, Chris, for letting me share that.
Yeah, you're welcome, James. There was one comment, I know Stuart had raised his hand here. Are the things you need for the kids are there things you need for the kids in childcare? And what's the primary age range for that?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second question first. The primary age right now is for our infant program, so 6 weeks and as old as 12 years old. So the range is that wide. So we do have infants in our program, and we have school agers up to 12. The first question, the current needs, one of the challenges we're having, and this is I kind of alluded to with the whole, the child care funding there and other places, but it takes so long to get those resources. We're trying to mitigate that process, and we're trying to find additional support. This is not a sales pitch, guys. This is a real thing. Our child care workers and our medical workers and our frontline medical workers who are coming from low-income communities who typically qualify for other funding streams. We're trying to mitigate those barriers by finding additional funds right now to provide. Come in, we cover childcare. You need to go where you need to go because you're at the hospital or you're providing critical care for those who need it. So let's actually just mitigate costs so you can be here. That's something right now that we're focused on tremendously. So supplies and resources in classrooms, we have an abundance through other partners, but trying to mitigate the cost for emergency workers and essential workers right now to have childcare is our primary focus with that program.
That's great, man. So I want to be really conscious of time. We've got 2 minutes left, and I know a couple people have to jump already. So before we leave, this is something we have to do. Everybody who is on video, smile and wave, because Adriana is going to take a screen capture. And I've done this before in other rooms where we just take a screen capture and people are like looking down and it's very awkward and there's just different sort of things happening. So Adriana, you get to run this real quickly and you tell us when you're ready. It's going to be like those awkward family photos where like everybody smile and hold it there for as long as you can, right? Okay, so Adriana, you are unmuted. You tell us when to go.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's do this one more time.
Okay. You tell us when. 1, 2.
All right. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
All right, awesome.
Please.
There is that's going to be on the T-shirt. I know if people have to run, please feel free. Kate, is Kate Cartini here? I just want to let her talk very briefly, if you can. Kate, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks so much, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see some new and old friends. In addition to the items that Nasser talked about at the beginning of the call and the work that we're doing on Upstate Venture Connect at Chloe Capital, which is a venture capital firm that invests in women-led technology companies, we have a company called 19th Amendment and Enabled. And the co-founder is a graduate of the University of Rochester, and she's actually active on the AIN Center, the advisory committee over there. In any event, what's happening right now is that Enabled is a manufacturing production platform that connects designers with US manufacturers. And right now the platform is being used to make fabric masks. Fabric masks do not replace the need for our N95 or medical masks, but they can be used over them to prolong the lifeline of them. Amanda, the co-founder with Gemma's husband, is a doctor on the front lines in Boston, and he was told to bring a bandana to work. So she said that we could do better than that, and we have. If you go on 19th Amendment, and I think I clicked the link in the chat box right now, you can buy a mask, make a mask. If you have a sewing machine, you can log in for free and you can start sewing your own masks. These masks are actually getting into hospitals. They have over 20,000 orders. They had a donation from fabric.com. So the cost of each mask has now been lowered to $4 per mask. It's just a great cause if you're sitting idle right now and you're looking for a way to contribute. If you know a U.S. manufacturer who is not on their vetted list, now's a great time for them to get involved too. And again, these do need to be washed at 90 degrees before they go into a fire station, a hospital, or etc. But since Monday, they launched a campaign on Monday. Again, 20,000 masks have been ordered.
Crazy. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. Richard, you want to give your closing remarks here?
Yeah, and I'll try to be brief. I just had an idea that if those of you who are receiving $1,200 checks or anticipate and don't necessarily have an immediate need, you may consider contributing to United Way or another worthy cause. There are a lot of ideas out there. I want to thank UVC. I'm not always clear about Upstate Venture Connect and its role in helping RocGrowth get to where it is and sustaining it in so many ways. So thank you, Kate and Nasser and Martin Babinick and the entire crew. Tom Myers, remarkable work you do in just filling in all the gaps and coming up with ideas. And I love that screen you created and the new logo for RocGrowth Coffee, the virtual forum. Adriana she and her team have done a remarkable job relaunching our website. Please check it out. And she does a lot more than that. And it's just so much fun to work with this team. And Chris, I'm going to give you a little applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. We do want feedback, positive, negative. We also want you to take a look at the website because some of you might have more spare time. Oddly enough, I don't feel like I have these days, but we have done a very good job archiving, and we have accumulated 30 RocGrowth candidates interviews going back over 6 years with some of our community's greatest innovators. You could watch them, you could listen to them as podcasts. They have a long shelf life, and they provide great information and are, I think, an invaluable asset. We also have posted the candidates briefer presentations as well, and a vast archive. And we also want to fight the virus with the virus. Let's defeat coronavirus with positive social viral interaction. So please spread the word about RocGrowth, share this information you've received today, and hopefully we can convene this much sooner. We're going to rely on your feedback. Now that we've done this once, it's going to feel a lot easier the next time. So everyone, please be safe, be healthy, and take this seriously and impress upon all those others who might be very casual about it not to be. And understand there are a lot of people in harm's way, but they have to be. Those frontline people, the people who are working in the child care centers. Maybe we could get some masks if they don't have them in their hands. So thank you. Love to all.
All right. That's it. I mean, I have nothing else to say other than thank you, everyone, for being here. And yeah, give us your feedback. We'll do it again sometime. Cool. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Peace, everybody. Thanks again.